Welcome everyone to Legion Gaming. I'm your host Donnie, and as always, I'm joined by co-host Ducey.
Hello, everyone.
And today we've made it once again a fatal four-way with our buddies Mike and Randy.
Yay!
That's right.
Fellas, how are you this afternoon?
I am great. As of recording, this is WrestleMania Day. So
Weekend.
I'm looking forward. Yeah, WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah. We're deep in Saturday, which is day 2 essentially of the kickoff weekend.
Day
right?
one. Well, I guess yesterday.
Day 2 of the
yesterday
kickoff
did
weekend.
the kickoff,
Yeah.
but tonight is the event.
Yeah, you're
Night
Yeah,
one
the
of
Hall
that.
of Fame was last night.
Oh, yeah.
That was a fun event too.
That's right. That's
So with wrestling and WrestleMania, there's a lot of characters in that company. So we thought it'd be pretty fun if we all just kind of listed some of our favorite characters and ranked them from number 10 to 1. And we have a pretty fun list today, and I think we're all gonna have a pretty good time because there's actually some things that I didn't expect some of you guys to put on there, and there's probably some things you didn't expect me to put on there. So I think it'll be a fun list nonetheless.
We have a lot more than 10, too. We're going to call it a top 10 because we numbered them, we ranked them, but we have a good amount here. We made our own fantasy Smash Brothers.
We really
without realizing it.
oh man,
It's like an all-star battle. So it's not like we'll be counting down from 10 to 1 because there's a lot of overlap with some of these characters. So we're kind of having like a grand list and then going through all where we place them, and then we're all going to give our individual number ones because that's really what we're here to talk about is our favorite character of all time.
And
at least one of our favorite characters.
And
of
it's
all time.
to like stipulate video game characters that originated in video games.
Yes, they would have had to have been created for video games, and they cannot be like Power Rangers or Ninja Turtles or something that came from some form of media and was gamified in some way.
Because they would have taken all the top ratings.
Yeah, they would have. Yeah. I
Spider-Man
love
would have been
Donatello.
pretty high.
And Fester.
Yeah, Fester.
Exactly. We already know. Spoiler alert. It could have
Yeah.
been Fester.
Fester would have been all our number ones.
But before we get to our favorites, what have you guys been playing lately?
I guess I'll go because I have a big announcement. Spider-Man 2 is finished.
There we go.
Oh,
I knew
nice.
you'd blast through it. I knew
Yeah,
it.
it only took me about 20 days. Like a
I'm
calendar.
surprised it took you that long.
Well, there were
or
some
did
days I
you,
couldn't
did you really
play.
just mow through everything?
Yeah, I got 100%.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't
Surprisingly.
get 100% because I remember when we were talking about it before, the main story, which was great, but there's so many times where there just feels like there's an immediate sense of urgency that it's like, that little petty crime over there, I just got to get to the other side of town right
Well, there's
now.
even some parts later where they kind of force you, like they don't even open up other stuff until the very, very end. And I did run into those nests that you asked me about last time. Surprisingly, I didn't have that much trouble with them, except for one. It was like under an overpass. That one pissed me off. I restarted that like 7 or 8 times. But no, I think I had more trouble with the Mysterio events. But then after that, I was just like, I don't know. I sat down one random night. It was after I'd eaten dinner, and I was like, I'll just play a little bit. And I ended up finishing the whole thing. It took me like 2 extra hours. I was like, how is there this much game left when I've already played it for days? And it was like its own self-contained movie. Like,
Yeah, that's what I liked about the side missions in Spider-Man 2 particularly is that they did have they were a little bit more meaty. Like there was a story behind them. It wasn't just like a checklist of complete the 10 Mysterio side missions, right? There was a little bit of a coda story there where it's like there's a reason for it and you unlock something cool with it. Like there's a cool Mysterio suit you get.
Yeah.
So I like that this game had just enough stuff where it didn't overstay its welcome. It also didn't feel like it was too much of a pain to collect because I did get 100% too.
I didn't even realize I was on the way to doing that. Like all of a sudden I would look at my thing. I'm like, oh, I only have like one more picture to take. I only have one more little spider bot thing. I might as well get them.
That's exactly. It's like I went through and cleaned up. I got gold on all the Mysterio ones, but
Oh, I didn't do that. I was like, bronze, get me out of here.
I went for it. Yeah, I was doing well because some are really hard. But I was like, it's like the same thing. It's like, well, I got 7 of them done. I may as well try to get gold. And some were kind of a pain, but it wasn't too bad. Unfortunately, I didn't get anything except for like tokens and level up stuff for it, though.
And that was another thing. I kind of maxed out the levels pretty early. Like, I didn't realize there was a level max, and I was already there, and I'd already gotten every like power up you could for your suits and things. And I'm like, oh, now I really do have to just finish the story. I have nothing else to do.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm glad you finished it. I hope that they have some DLC coming soon because I would love to get back to
I heard
that.
I heard it was coming end of April. Maybe was
Oh,
the
really?
first one.
I haven't heard anything about that. I
Either
haven't seen
that-
the season pass or anything.
or May, but there's also all the typical rumors where like some of these side stories that you played in the main game could be leading to what the DLC is going to be.
That would make sense. Yeah. Mike, what have you been diving into?
Oh man, I've been playing a lot of stuff. So one thing that I'm playing a lot of lately is The Show 24. So that's MLB The Show. It's the yearly iteration of whatever baseball game. But The Show is like one of the better sports simulation games out there, and this one is really good. The mechanics are better. I would always feel like I was really good at pitching, but terrible at hitting, even when I'd like sit and wait and do all the things I was
True
doing.
of baseball.
Yeah, but they've fixed the mechanics a little bit, so hitting's a little easier if you know what you're doing, and so that's more fun. The graphics are great, the sound is great, so I've been doing that a lot. And the only other one that I'm playing a lot of, in addition to Advanced Wars 1 and 2, which Don let me borrow, which is awesome, and I loved it.
Yeah.
I put it down about maybe like 4 or 5 days ago. I haven't picked it up since, so I brought it back. But that game is awesome. I was plowing through that whole thing. Like every night, I was getting like 3
It's
or 4
really
missions done.
cool. Yeah. The only thing I wish that game had was a toggle or something for like the retro sprites or something.
Yeah.
Because I do like the 3D look, but it looks, I don't know.
It
almost
looked
looks
good
a little,
back then, too.
Yeah, it looked
Yeah.
really great then, but the new style almost looks like a mobile game in some ways.
Yeah, no, it does. It
Right,
definitely
and it's like
does.
not
Yeah.
to its detriment, but it's like it's just that's what it makes me think. It's not the game's fault.
No, you're right
Yeah.
though. It does 100%. So I played that a lot, but then Battlefield, Star Wars,
Battlefront 2.
Battlefront.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
talked a little
Oh,
bit of
yeah.
that.
Yeah, Star Wars Battlefront 2. I've been playing that a lot.
That was a good time the other night with
It
you
was
guys.
fun.
Yeah.
I forgot. I've never played those huge battles before because I've always played like solo or like with somebody a local co-op.
Oh, it's so good.
Those are so fun because they're just chaos and like you'll die 1,000 times, but you'll kill like one person and you're like, yes,
It's all worth
I'm
it.
contributing to the cause.
Yeah. I've just accepted with those Battlefield games that like you're gonna die a billion times.
Yeah.
And plus the Battlefront 2, like the sense of scale and just
It's so awesome.
it's like when you guys were fighting on the ground, I spawned as a Y-wing and
Yeah.
it was just trying to bomb things as I could over you guys. Like, it's one of the most surreal things to play, and it's all just in real time. There's no transition. You spawn in a ship.
And what a great IP for that, because I think we all were like, well, what would it be like to be a stormtrooper? Well, here you go. You get to be a stormtrooper and die just like they do.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And we gotta
Probably
play some more because
Aim just as well as them.
Yeah, I'm down to play it. Man, it's so fun. And the graphics stand up. I mean, I know it's not like that old of a game, but it's not
Oh,
young
it's
either.
almost 7 years old now. I think
Yeah.
6, 7 years old. So it's not terribly old, but I mean it's aging. It's a generation old, but
Yeah.
it still looks amazing.
Graphics look great on it. All the scenery looked awesome. Like you stop and want to look around because you're like, oh man, look at that.
Yeah, where you're
AT-AT
getting blasted by
Then you
Darth
blasted.
Vader.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Choke or something. Like,
It just comes
yeah.
and annihilates you.
Hey man, I was looking at the trees.
Yeah. Can I just stop and smell the roses every once in a while?
Yeah,
All right, but that's what I've been playing.
it's good stuff. Randall, what have you been diving into?
I've been since I've last been on here, I've been playing a good bit. I polished off RoboCop that I borrowed from you.
I really like that game.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And after that, I moved on to and finally got to play the Resident Evil 3 remake after I did the Resident Evil 4 remake the end of last year,
In
and
the last few months, yeah.
yeah, something like that. The Resident Evil 3 remake not as good. Also wildly different from
The original.
because I played the original several times. I owned it, got it for Christmas one year. And I probably like the story, or at least the story beats of the original more than this one.
Yeah, so the Resident Evil 3 remake, it's a hard one for me because I liked it when I played it, but I didn't love it. Like when I played the Resident Evil 2 remake, that felt like what it was supposed to. With it had some detriments too, or some concessions with the story. But 3 felt like it was too streamlined, and it didn't feel
Yes.
as weighty as it felt like a bigger spin-off than even the first game or
It
the
felt-
original was supposed to be.
Yeah,
It felt
I kept-
very much like DLC.
Yeah.
I kept expecting, when am I going into the police station as Jill? Like none of that happens. And then after that, I finally got around and played a Final Fantasy VII remake in anticipation of borrowing Rebirth from Dawn.
I knew it. I still
Yeah.
gotta finish it.
Honestly, I probably, in normal circumstances, I would just go ahead and buy it, but there's just other things that I still gotta play. So eventually, by the time that Dawn's done, I'll be like, oh, okay, now I can go ahead
Yeah.
and borrow that.
I might peruse a Donnywood video tonight too. Just
It is a
like the
fantastic
beeper
place
scanner.
to
Yeah,
shop.
yeah, it's a nice.
It's always free.
It's a nice spot, man.
He's gonna
No.
give you one of those like discount cards for
Yeah,
every fifth
yeah.
rental.
He gets it for free. Like, what do you mean?
A little punch
Yeah,
ticket.
exactly. Oh, this is extra free.
Yeah.
You get one
Now
of
you
my
get two
doubles.
games.
Yeah. I have 3 copies of Mario. You got one.
Yeah.
Good job. You went to 10.
And then I just now started on Marvel's Midnight Suns.
Oh my god! Thank
And I've
goodness
barely
someone's
made
playing
any
it.
a dent in it. Things just keep coming up. but it definitely feels like it's a game that I'm going to enjoy. It was a little bit like XCOM.
Oh, yeah.
In that, like I like the. It's funny because I don't like real. I'm sorry, turn-based combat in like RPGs. I hate it, but I do love it when it's part of a strategy game.
I can see that. I enjoy both. I enjoy
Same.
the old turn-based. I wish more RPGs still went back to that, but I surprise myself sometimes where I think I'm bad at these strategy games, and then I end up getting pretty decent into the story mode.
Yeah, I'm glad one of you is playing Midnight Suns because I've been just preaching to that for the last like year and a half, and I'm glad it's finally on PS Plus because I think it's one of the better Marvel games that no one talks about because it just released and no one cared. But the strategy element, because I'm usually pretty terrible at tactics games, like I usually hit a wall, and with this, I would hit a wall sometimes, but there is so much you can do and learn and like plan out your next set of moves that it's so flexible that it just made it fun to learn. And I played through the game. It was like it's a beefy game. I told you it's like 55 hours for the main story. So there's a lot in the game you can do.
I know it's a different game, but like, would you put it up there with Ultimate Alliance as far as like goodness?
I love it as much,
Yeah.
honestly. Yeah,
Yeah,
I really,
it's that good?
yeah, it's a different game because that's like a like a Diablo type game.
Right.
But for me, like this Midnight Suns, yeah, it's absolutely up there because I would play that now just for fun.
Yeah.
Because it has like all different characters in there. There's so much different, abilities you can synergize with different team makeups.
That's cool.
There's so much you can do in that game. It killed me that like no one played because it's like a tactics card game.
Was there? Oh, yeah. That's usually what turns everybody off is when you say cards.
Yeah.
Card
Yeah,
game.
and tactics. It's like, oh, great.
Was there DLC story add-ons?
Yes, and I played through all of it
Oh.
as well. They weren't especially beefy, like like they're really slim and they're overpriced. To be honest with you, like I got on sale, but it's like I think 3 or 5 story missions, and it's like consider like a mini episode of a show, right?
Yeah,
It's like an hour and a half, 2 hours. That's it. But I would say like if you find it cheap, it's worthwhile. But you really have to love the game, and I love the game, so I got it for it.
Well, yeah. Luckily now it is on PS Plus, so I'll probably dig into that one next.
I hope so. Yeah. For what I've been playing, Rainey's talking about Rebirth, and I'm still playing Rebirth. I'm a solid 40 or 44 hours. I don't know how long I've been into it. I'm like probably 2/3 of the way through the game because I just keep getting caught up in collecting stuff or discovering lore stones and like all this little side stuff that you can discover. So I'm really enjoying that. I don't know when I'm finishing it. I've been trying to chip away at it. And it's like I really want to get more of the story because it's so good, but I just get thrown off anytime I get to a new area. I'm just trying to get these freaking icons and reveal more of the map.
Yeah.
And then the other game I've been deep into is Rise of the Ronin, which I've been really enjoying on PS5.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like a mix of Far Cry with samurais,
Nice.
which is why I've been like loving the hell out of
Mind
it.
blown.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
so it's, the story in there, it's really good. I to be honest, I don't know much of it because it's the same thing. Like I just get preoccupied with like liberating areas, like the outposts, or like finding these traffickers, or like these they're called like bounties basically, and like the combat's so fun that it's just like I just been immersed in doing all the side stuff, just like cleaning everything.
That
up.
happens to me sometimes
Yeah.
where I'm just so into, or like I get like, I have to do this. I have to beat this thing. I'm sick of it beating me every time.
Yeah.
And it's like minutia. Like I don't need to
It's
do
stuff
it.
that matters. Yeah, it doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
that's
glad
like
you get nonetheless.
to bring it back to Spider-Man 2 when Randy said, "Oh, I don't need to do that one thing. I got to go finish the mission." But it's like the combat was so fun. I do want to beat up those
Exactly.
criminals.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I had a blast with that, and the only reason I didn't 100% it was because, like I said, I just got caught up in the story, finished the story, and then decided to kind of hang back, and not play it anymore because I had a feeling that they were gonna patch in New Game Plus
They
and all
did.
that,
So
and
now
they did.
Yeah, they did.
But I've just been inundated with all these other games,
Exactly.
so I haven't gone back. But I feel like the more distance I put between going back to that, it'll make it even better when I play through it again.
I think it's a good point because I would like they did that New Game Plus. I would like to go through it because I got the platinum trophy, so now it says 97% instead of 100, which bugs me. But I'm hoping I'll go through it again when the DLC releases because that'd be like a great time once all the DLC releases. Then you just play through New Game Plus from beginning to end with the DLC.
Exactly.
And where else we'll get into by that time too, because I'm sure then there's backlog by then. It's only gotten deeper.
I already have one.
Yeah.
One question for you, Don, kind of unrelated to this, but like has to do with your video gaming. Can you expand on Helldivers 2? Have you been playing it much?
Oh yeah. So our friend 8-Bit Barrister and Vito, he and I have been doing co-op a lot on there.
Yeah.
And it is such an amazing time to play that game. I wish Well, Ducey and I played with Vito a little bit.
I keep wanting to get into it, and then things come up.
It is the game that I am so jealous I can't play more than any other game on earth.
It's so fun.
I hear so many cool things about it.
Dude, it's
and
Starship Troopers.
I know. And every time I hear Don talk about it, or I hear it on like IGN people talk about it, or on Instagram, I'll get some stuff. And every time I'm like, God, I want to play this game.
It's a fantastic co-op game because it's just you versus Terminators essentially, or bugs. Like there's no. And it's like there's not really a story to it's a live service game, so they add like story elements to it, but it's not at the forefront at all. So it's really just doing missions over and over and like getting rare samples and upgrading your ship, and all that gameplay loop is just fun as hell because in the midst of those missions, you're just doing like the most ridiculous stuff with your buddies. Like you're never safe.
Yeah.
Anytime you think you have a moment to collect yourself, go get ammo, whatever else, you'll suddenly hear a rumbling. You're like, oh god, like I already know it's coming
again.
Or you'll say like bot drop coming. You see like the HK thing drop off a bunch of Terminator things. It's like, oh my god. So there's always a sense of dread and tension because you can't really just calm things down.
Gosh.
And it's like Vito and I were playing the other night, and it killed me because I swear to God, like I don't know, 20 seconds from extracting, having the ship land to extract us. And I was like, I'm just going to throw my airstrike way out there just to keep them off because who knows what could happen, right? The ship's going to leave. And then what happens? I got blasted by a Terminator. It knocked me back, dropped the airstrike at my feet. It killed Vito and I. We had no lives left.
Oh man!
And then we see the dropship land on our dead bodies. Like,
could you imagine if a movie ended that way? Like Saving Private Ryan, and that's just how it ends.
I was like, did that really just happen?
Fade to black.
Yeah.
The exact
Credits.
moment I got thrown back and my airstrike landed at my feet, I was like, no! But
that is so funny.
I was laughing for like 5 minutes. It was unbelievable. So it's
goodness.
like the good thing about that is like you don't extract, but we did complete the mission objective, so we got credit for doing that. It's just stuff like you collect those rare samples and materials that upgrade your ship. Those are lost because you didn't extract with them.
Oh man, that's
so
cool.
It's not a total loss,
what a
but
great game.
It's such a fun time. Like I wish
I want to play it.
I really wish we could do 4-player. Like I've done 4-player with other friends.
I wish it was on Xbox, man. I wish I would get it today.
Yeah. So does Xbox.
Yeah,
Which is on Xbox.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a fantastic time. I've put in some time in that multiplayer, and that's where it really shines.
I gotta finish my computer and get my
It's on PC as well.
I gotta get it. Gotta get my PC done so I can get on there.
How much more do you have to go?
Not too much. Just have to get power supply, and that's about it.
That's what's stopping you?
Well, I mean,
the power supply.
it's like one thing at a time. But I've gotten all of the big stuff. So
Is it together, or do you just have the parts?
I just have all the parts.
Oh, okay.
I'm waiting until I get everything together, and I'll just build it all at one time.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, building a PC is not easy, gentlemen. It's a lot of money, but I get like the juice is worth the squeeze because I could change it out a lot. I could get exactly what I want.
And typically, like if depending on what you get, you can kind of future proof for a good amount of time. You don't have to buy a new one for
a year and a half.
Now,
Right? Yeah.
No, not really. That would have been true a few years ago, but now it's like your
maybe
one video
graphics
card
and stuff, but like memory wise, CPU wise, things like that. Like I have good stuff that's gonna last. Probably at least hopefully 5, 6.
It's a lot longer. Like games are so much more scalable where they even low end hardware could still run it to some capacity. And it's like if you make a mid range PC, you're gonna be fine for a little while.
Yeah, and just to clarify to the audience, I didn't pay a lot of money, but it's still it's not cheap.
It's not cheep. It's more expensive than a PS5 or Xbox, really.
100%. But the investment is better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, fellas. Well, with that, let's get to our main event and talk about our favorite characters. Guys, so we are here. We're going to talk about some of our favorite characters throughout all of our gaming histories. I think this is going to be a really fun episode and a lot of fun choices on here. So before we get to our list, I guess we want to talk about some honorable mentions, some choices that didn't make your list for one reason or another. I know it's always hard when you do these lists because, if you have 10, it's like something's going to get squeezed out. Mm-hmm. And even this morning, I was second guessing myself about which one I should have included and left it off. I was telling Ducey when you got here earlier. So Ducey, start off with a couple of your honorable mentions that didn't make your list for one reason or another.
Just a couple of them, I guess, would be like an honorable mention to Master Chief. I know he's very classic. Halo did a lot for the industry in the shooter genre, but I was just like, yeah, he's a guy in a helmet, and you play as him. It's like first person, so I really felt like that was me shooting the aliens.
You were
and things.
Chief.
A couple other ones, and these I say had like a triple threat match with my number 10, and they just kept rotating in and out. And two of them that lost out were Donkey Kong and Link.
Oh,
Donkey Kong because, I mean, he was like the first bad guy that you could then play as a good guy in later games. Donkey Kong Country is amazing, and it's just funny that it started out as he was throwing barrels at Mario. And Link, I really enjoy playing all the Zelda games, and he just barely missed out, but really, like, for a character that has a sword and a shield, which is like one of your basic weapons in any fantasy story, his is the easiest to like pick up and play. And it's always fun to go back to Zelda games.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Mike, your honorable mentions that didn't quite make your list.
Yeah, so I have like two. My first one is, I want to make sure I got his name right, was Eric Lecard from Castlevania Bloodlines.
Oh, that's a good choice.
Yeah, because I love Castlevania Bloodlines, and his character is so awesome in the game. But I don't know, like, his lore enough to be like, yeah, I really like his character. But he has like a spear that he uses as opposed to a whip, so his like range is so much better, which makes him so much easier to kill bad guys with. So I love playing as him, and I wanted to pick somebody from Castlevania, and I was like, well, this is the one I like the most, and I like his design and everything. He has like a blue design. So that one, and then Johnny Cage was my other one.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Yeah,
Very good one.
Of all the characters in Mortal Kombat, I love his lore the most because he just is ridiculous. And but I think I might be basing a lot of my love for him as a character off of the movie. So I was like, I don't know if I could put him that high because
It's understandable though.
Yeah.
I think, but I did consider things like movie and other media presence in how they affected me for what I chose. So I think that's totally fair.
Because at least he started in a game.
Yeah,
he fits
exactly.
the criteria.
yeah, and I loved him in the games too. Like let's not be mistaken there. But yeah, so those two, Johnny Cage is a really like 10B.
10B.
Yeah.
That's great. Randy, anything you want to shout out?
I had a bunch, and like you said, Johnny Cage is one of them, along with Sub-Zero, Kung Lao, Raiden, Shang Tsung, and Goro from the
yes.
Mortal Kombat.
Raiden.
All
Damn.
Now,
fantastic.
so I know that's the thing about, like, I'd say Mortal Kombat because every character you select, they have their own thorough story.
Yeah.
There's a lot of characters there to connect with that you kind of know more over the years than you do a lot of these other video game characters. And to a lesser extent, the same is for Street Fighter, which, I had Ken, Ryu, Sagat, Guile, Chun-Li, Cammy. Just like, I've used them all. We also have Pikachu.
That's a surprise for
Pikachu,
you.
yeah.
Okay.
Your Smash
Yeah,
Brothers.
that's the one that made me get Pokemon in the first place back before it became really huge.
Yeah, and your Smash Bro.
Yeah, and
player
I
of
do
choice.
I do enjoy spamming Pika.
Yeah.
It is wonderful in Smash Brothers. I also had an honorable mention for Sephiroth from Final Fantasy
There
VII.
you
Yeah,
go.
I almost put it. Yeah, that would have been.
Yeah, ultimate cool character. Both the Super Mario Brothers and Bowser. Tommy Vercetti from Grand Theft Auto Vice City.
I thought about
That's
him
a
too.
really good one.
Yeah.
That was like, he was right on the cusp, along with this one, who is, I was struggling on whether to put this guy at number 10 before ultimately deciding on my number 10 pick. Doom Guy.
Oh, okay.
I like that one.
Yeah.
I
Doom
especially
Guy,
like that
honorable
one.
mention. The highest honorable mention I have.
For me, I mean, these are all great choices as they are, but I struggle the same way with you guys, where it's just like I was looking at it. So I had to give a shout out to Alan Wake. That's one of my favorites,
That is a good
Xbox 360 and by PS5 characters now. His story in Alan Wake 1 was already incredible. It was very sort of Twin Peaks, Stephen King.
Yeah.
This sort of this whole the series. What I love about the series is like it has this sort of meta narrative arc where he's writing himself into a story, but he's also trying to write himself out of a story that he's written himself in.
Yeah.
Which sounds as insane as it is, but it's just so well told throughout both games, especially 2, that I had to give marks to it. And like that one almost made my top 10. I was kind of upset I didn't. The other, like Randy mentioned, Sephiroth. I mean, that's like one of the iconic RPG characters of all time. It put the PS1 on the map and put JRPGs back on the map. Hard to say, to nudge that one out. And then Commander Shepard from Mass Effect. That one is interesting because technically Commander Shepard is you in a sense, but Shepard has like his own story arc that you craft, like
Or hers.
or hers, excuse me, his or hers, depending on if you go Paragon or Renegade paths, and that's what made it special. Is like especially Mass Effect 2. That's one of my favorite games of all time for that reason, because all the choices you make in Mass Effect 1 can affect things in 2 and also in 3, which really hasn't been done since.
Yeah.
I don't think. I can't think of another game where they scoped out an entire series and your choices from the first game really go through.
Only the Telltale series of games.
That's true.
if
Those
there's
are
multiple seasons.
Those are the exception.
Yeah.
But I would say like on the scale of Mass Effect, like that was
because those are all like stories and episodes. And
with
Mass Effect was a
explorable
game.
areas, exactly. Yeah. So those are some of my picks. It's like we could talk for a long time at some of the characters that didn't make our lists, but I think those are some of the highlights on there. So we'll get started with the first one on our list. That was number 10 here for a couple of us. So we start with Sonic on our list. And Ducey, you had this at number 10. I had it at number 10. Mike, you had it at number 9. And Rand, you had it at 8. So Ducey, tell us why you put Sonic on your list.
So, like I said, he was in the triple threat match with Donkey and Link, but he won out because famously listeners know that I wasn't a Sega kid, but I was a Sonic kid. Like, he transcended just being Sega. I had Sonic toys. I watched the Sonic cartoon. If I ever saw a Sega somewhere at a store or at a friend's house, I only wanted to play Sonic. So I was like, he definitely fits the criteria for my top 10. And now he's got 2 great movies. Like, he's starting to branch out even more.
Yeah, he's more
making a
mainstream
comeback
now than even he was back then, I think.
He's like Nicolas Cage. He's got some good games coming out recently too. He's on his way back.
And even back then, as a mascot, he was like the epitome of '90s attitude.
He was
100%. Yeah.
And especially with Sega's marketing campaign against Nintendo, like Sonic fit the bill perfectly. After they couldn't find a mascot either.
Yeah.
They had like Alex Kidd.
I was gonna say, I'm so glad they didn't go with him.
Yeah, like he's Alex Kidd, but Sonic is Sonic.
Yes.
So I was the opposite of you. I was a Sega kid through and through. I had a Genesis longer than any system I've ever had, except for maybe my Nintendo 64. But anyway, I love my Genesis so much, and there weren't too many Genesis kids around. Usually, even if you were a Genesis owner, you liked your Super Nintendo more because you had a Super Nintendo, but I didn't have one. So Sonic was the one that you could like put out and be like,
yeah, but I got Sonic.
I played this game. And everybody's like, oh man, you played Sonic 2 or you played Sonic 3, Sonic and Knuckles. And Sonic was the one character I can carry with me throughout like my childhood that I could always put up with any Super Nintendo game and people would respect it. They'd be like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, Sonic is really good.
He even survived his dark times.
He did.
Like, there were bad games that he's come through and, like you said, made good ones again.
Yep. Yeah. So he was as a Genesis kid, he was the one you could hold on to and show everybody that'd be like, oh yeah, you're right.
He was
the mascot, and he was a much cooler mascot than Mario was.
Yeah.
I had him at number 8, so I had him the highest out of all of us.
You did, yeah.
And like Mike, I was also a Genesis kid. I had a regular Nintendo, but I did not have a Super Nintendo. And I have Sonic on here because I remember getting the Genesis. It came with Sonic at the time. And that game just visually was amazing. Back then you're like, it looks like a cartoon. Like, no, not quite.
You're right.
But the improvement from like even Super Mario 3 to Sonic the Hedgehog, like it looks like a wildly different. Obviously it's a much better hardware, but it was so colorful. It was so fast.
The music's amazing.
The music was amazing. Green Hill Zone. That's like got to be maybe the best music in a video game for me.
It's one of them.
It's really good.
Was Chemical Plant
two?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of them.
Zone
Casino Nights had a great song.
Casino
They
Nights,
all
yeah.
had
I was
really
like
good
Labyrinth
music.
Zone?
Labyrinth Zone. Marble Zone had a good one too.
Yeah, Marble Zone.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that again, that's a testament to how great Sonic is because the music, the graphics, everything about Sonic resonates with us, and it's we've held great nostalgia for that, and it's amazing, like you guys said, like he's still around, and successful movies and everything.
It was just a platformer at super speed, basically,
It was.
and it was just a lot of fun, and the sequels were good. Sonic 2, you could even argue, is maybe even better.
I would say it definitely is.
Probably is. Yeah.
And as a character, he's perfect for what he does because you couldn't put an Italian plumber running really, really fast.
No.
on a hill and stuff.
And then when it does come to like the dark times, because Sega isn't in the console wars anymore, so that any Sonic game that comes out isn't getting pushed to the forefront because it's supposed to carry a brand or anything like that.
They're terrible.
But then they finally released a good video game movie when they brought out Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
And that was great, revitalizing that character, which makes you like him even more.
And also, I would say when you first played Sonic, at least when I first played Sonic, And of course, you don't recognize this as a kid, but you also, as you get older, you see like how different Sonic was from Mario. Like it really had leaned on its differentiators. Like you mentioned the speed, but there's also these levels had a lot of verticality to them that wasn't in anything else. There was a lot of like spiral loop-de-loops.
Yeah.
A lot of things that I had never seen as a kid, and I thought was like the coolest thing I'd ever seen in my life.
You know what? I don't think Mario did this, but you guys remember how Sonic would throw an attitude at you if you didn't go?
He had an
after a
idle
while?
animation.
Yeah,
he had that little.
He'd like stamp his feet and look at his watch.
Yeah.
And be like, shut up, man! I'm
wasting
looking up
his
something.
time.
Yeah,
And he'd like look up at you, like roll his eyes.
You gotta move.
It's amazing. So I figured that was gonna be on our list, and it's interesting because I think you mentioned, Ray, that's
It's
the only one that's all of our lists.
It's on all of our lists, and it was right there, and it's the first one we talk about. There's a few that we have like 3. Three of us will have a certain character on there.
Yeah, I think why it doesn't go higher is because his lore is pretty shallow.
Yeah.
And so other characters on this list either have more impactful lore or like character wise they're different because he's not that impressive of a character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really more about his games than anything else
exactly.
in that regard. Yeah. All right, Mike. So we'll move on to you. This was at your number 10.
Oh,
This is
yes.
Miss Pac-Man.
Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to talk about Miss Pac-Man because I had to put it on the list. So Miss Pac-Man may have been the very first video game that I remember playing in the arcades. I might have played something on Atari before it, but I distinctly remember, like how we're like, 80s kids, late 80s kids, and you go into one of those bars that sometimes, for some reason, kids were allowed into, and like there's like a cigarette machine off to the
You
side.
just send your kid to go get you a pack of smokes.
Yeah, exactly. And there was always those like arcade bar cabinets where they're like flat.
Oh yeah.
So they had a Miss Pac-Man at this one, and I might have been 3 or 4 in a bar with whatever. But I played it. I distinctly remember playing it, and I distinctly remember loving that game. And Miss Pac-Man is kind of a cultural icon, I think. It's a Ms. Which is pretty impressive, right? She don't need no man.
Maybe one of the first Ms.
Maybe one of the first Mrs. in any
gaming.
video game, I would say. Yeah. She's distinctly feminine, which I think was also, and she's a main character, which I think is impressive. And I think her game is really good too. I think it's
a better version.
I think it's a better version than Pac-Man was.
Because the maze has changed.
Yes.
Yeah.
The mazes change. Which is really nice. And I don't know, just fun. I think the music's good, all that kind of stuff. And Ms. Pac-Man is one of the highest selling arcade games of all time.
It is.
Like the amount of money they've made off of arcade cabinets for Ms. Pac-Man is impressive. So that's why I had to put her on the list struck a blow for women's rights.
So,
Worthy at
you
number
are probably
10.
the Ms. Pac-Man expert in this. So, could you tell us what the difference is between Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man?
Like what? Like anatomically?
Sorry, you didn't take the bait. I was trying to set you up for a Wayne's
She had
World
the
thing.
bow.
You're supposed to say, well, Miss Pac-Man has a
the
bow on
bow.
her hair.
Oh,
And
yeah,
then I'd be like,
yeah.
get out of town.
Yeah, sorry.
All right.
Sorry.
No worries.
No worries. All right, Randy, you're up next with your number 10 choice, and it was also on Mike's list at number 9. This is Master Chief from Halo.
All right, Master Chief from Halo. So, like I said, I was struggling with Doom Guy. I had him at 10, and then I kind of remembered Master Chief exists. And while I do like the newer Doom games more than the most recent Halo offerings, there is the fact that Master Chief is a more well-rounded character. And his story is a little more, linear and logical for me to follow. Also, Halo was just such a fantastic shooter. Like, when that came out, like, shooters... It would, like, redefine shooters, so to speak, because Call of Duties came out a little bit later, and, yeah, I mean, what more can you really say about them?
Yeah. Mike.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think I felt like I had to put him on there because Master Chief is such a part of my like early adult life, like from teenager through like young adult through like the 20s kind of thing, as like such a part of it. And his voice is iconic. It had its own storyline, and he had his lore, and he was kind of interesting because he had some faults and stuff, but he was kind of a superhero at the same time, And I think that I had to put something from recent, and I feel like out of all the first person shooters that I could think of that aren't attached to IPs, he had the most interesting backstory, interesting things to tell,
Yeah.
storylines.
Did not have the most interesting TV series adaptation.
I haven't seen the new
I've not
season.
watched it either.
Aside from the first 20 minutes of the first
So
episode,
awesome.
which is amazing. Like, it's truly outstanding, and it really gets your hopes up for a great TV series before it just a wet turd for the rest of the time. Although apparently, now what I've
Not
heard,
just a fart.
no, exactly,
Not even a
It's
polished
It's
one.
not just a fart. It's more than that.
Oh, wet
Although
turd.
apparently, is what I hear is that season 2 is like better in every imaginable way, and I probably will eventually at least try that to see.
From the previews, it looks like it's steered more towards the games.
It's all about
Well, that's
reach.
probably good.
Yeah.
All right, Ducey, you're going to kick us off with your number 9, and this is a personal favorite of mine as well. Tell us about Liquid Snake from the Metal Gear Solid series.
Yeah, so at first I put Solid Snake on my list, but then I was like, no, you know what was better? And, so Metal Gear Solid was the first Metal Gear I really played or knew about. Like, I knew Metal Gear was on Nintendo, but I didn't play that one. Mm-hmm. And so when Metal Gear Solid came out, I was like, okay, what's this? And it's all about, sneaking and stealth. But when I really got into the story, I learned that, oh, your main enemy is your brother and your twin brother.
A clone of you.
Yeah, and I really love that for enemies. Like in GoldenEye, I loved 007 versus 006. And so this just seemed awesome. And like, I wish you could play as Liquid. And you come to find out at the end that he always thought that he was the lesser brother. He was like the Danny DeVito of the twins. But then you find out at the end that he was supposed to be the dominant one. He was really trying to take over for Big Boss and everything. And I was just like, I know they did that weird thing with his arm and revolver later, but I would have liked to have seen him somehow come back and persevere.
I wish he could have, because he has one of the most interesting story arcs in gaming, especially starting with Metal Gear Solid, and just how he persists. And it's like he kind of has parallels to Sephiroth in a sense, where he's sort of created to be, the invincible one, the best one, and like, Liquid Snake realizes this thing, he's trying to reach that potential, and he just doesn't, because Solid Snake's in his way.
Yeah.
So that's a good choice. I didn't expect that to be on your list, so I thought it was a good one.
It was a very good choice. The voice acting on that was great.
Yes.
Incredible.
He was so good.
It's funny when I hear that same voice actor doing other things, I'm like, nope, that's still Liquid.
That's still Liquid. Yeah. All right, Randy, we're going to go back to you. This is your number 9. And then, Ducey, you had this on your list at 7. Mike had number 5, and it's Lara Croft from the Tomb Raider series.
Yep. Lara Croft. I had a Sega Saturn. Like I said, I was a Sega kid. So when we went from the Genesis to the Sega Saturn, and Tomb Raider came out. So we bought that. And I can't really think of like a somewhat open world 3D kind of,
It was pretty huge for us back
it
then.
was huge because most of the times in those types of games, it was pretty much 2D.
Especially for Saturn, because not too many games like that came out for that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. Especially, I don't think one at that scale either, because, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So to go from the Genesis to the Saturn and also the PlayStation 1, and then all of a sudden you have this 3D world with Lara Croft, and you're shooting your guns against a T-Rex that's coming at you. Like that
Or even
was
just a tiger.
That was like outstanding when you're a kid, and you not expecting a T-Rex to come after you. But to see it happen in fully rendered 3D polygons, like a lot of polygons in that first Tomb Raider.
And that T-Rex was huge, and also that game was probably one of the earlier games where it felt like I had to really, fight for my survival.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
everything was a threat.
Exactly.
You had to fight the controls for your survival.
Not only did you have to fight for your survival, but you also got to do puzzles too.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just like one way or the other. It wasn't a puzzle game. It wasn't strictly a survival game. It was both of those things.
Well, it really felt like you were, raiding tombs, right? That's the whole
Yeah.
thing. It's like you would trigger traps accidentally if you did a puzzle out of order or something. And it was difficult as hell. Like, I remember having a hard time with that game.
Yeah,
back
I
then.
don't know if I beat it. I think I watched my dad beat it. I think
didn't.
I got
not
near
without
the
codes.
end.
Yeah.
She was a cultural icon for she expanded beyond video games.
Yep.
I know a lot of it was for the male gaze and everything, but at least she was getting out there and saying, hey, look, girls can be the heroes of these games too.
Yeah, she wasn't Princess Peach just like being
No.
captured every level by
yeah.
Koopa,
She was legitimately the biggest video game character
And
at that
badass.
time.
she was killing.
I
She was
fools.
absolutely the
Wasn't
biggest
she also like
character
on,
in video games.
Wasn't she also like on Maxim magazine?
Yeah.
back then or something crazy.
Maxim,
like they
she
featured
was-
a game character.
She was in. She was like at the MTV Movie Awards
Yeah.
and stuff.
There was
Yeah.
the urban legend about the naked code or the
Oh,
nude
God.
code
Yeah.
or
Those.
something.
They always
Yeah.
have those.
Yeah.
And then for her to make that resurgence resurgence in the most recent trilogy, it just made her character even better, a little more like fleshed out. And I heard there's another one coming that's like also another reboot or something, but I didn't follow up too much on that one. It sounds like it's going to be after that prequel trilogy, but maybe just kind of a reboot of the originals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had her highest on my list, and I'll tell you this: I did not play a Lara Croft game for more than 5 minutes.
Yeah,
until the newest ones.
Yeah,
like
those are fantastic.
Yeah, they
They're
are.
great
They're
games.
all awesome. The last 3, I'd say, are all really, really good. But I never played the PlayStation 1. I mean, I played them, and I was like, this game sucks. And it had nothing to do with Lara Croft. It had everything to do with the mechanics and the way that you played. It was, like, terrible. But besides that, she was iconic in a way you can't even express to kids now. Like, there's her fandom stardom rivaled human beings.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the top of the game human beings. And that's crazy that a fictional drawing, more or less, became as iconic as any living female human.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was like a sexuality about it that, that's something that you have to deal with. But at the same time, it was also, she's not a damsel in distress. She's kicking ass all the time and killing anybody who comes in her way. And she's,
she's a genuine badass.
She is the main character, and like she commands that respect as a main character too. So I think just culturally, I don't know how you can not say that she's one of the greatest main characters of all time.
Yeah, I think she's absolutely higher on that list for if we're just talking about
Impact.
greatest of all time, period.
Yeah.
She's much higher than I have her at number 9, but this is just my personal list.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, Ray, you mentioned back then we thought like how huge the areas were. But I played the remaster, which is a really good remaster, by the way. Like they did a lot of updates and modernization, but still kept it true. And it's funny how I could memorize the map in like 5 minutes just going through. I'm like, wow, this is not what it was when I was like 10, 12 years old.
It was like an hour long.
Yeah.
It's a lot smaller than you remember.
It really is. So it's, but again, like you said, back then there weren't games that were that open and that wide open at all.
Exactly.
It was a totally new experience.
back then it took you 20 minutes to jump onto one ledge.
It did.
That's
Yeah.
what extended the time.
Tank controls of tank controls. Yeah. Okay. So for my number 9, I put Doom Guy and / Doom Slayer on this list, and I love Doom, the original Doom to begin with. It's genuinely one of my favorite games of all time, and Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal are 2 of my favorite games over the last like 10 years.
Mine as well.
They're so freaking good, and it's funny because Randy, you were talking about Master Chief and how he has like has a better story arc and this and that versus Doom Guy doesn't.
Yes.
And for me, it's like I'm fine because his whole thing is rip and tear. You're just going through.
The tagline.
Yeah, like the opening of Doom 2016 is one of my favorites because you're strapped to like this bed in hell, like you've been transported to hell, and then like this this thing, I forget what it is, if it's a scientist or whatever, starts to give you like a tutorial almost, and then you just take a shotgun and like blast his head off, and that's it. That's the whole beginning of the game. Just get to shooting no matter what. And this, I love arcade type experiences and just like visceral speed, and both these games have it. And the original game, I can still pick it up today and still play it. It's still very playable. Yeah. And it's also one of the most influential games of all time, just for what it did for first-person shooters and online deathmatch and everything that spawned from it being open source. So for me, number 9, it was an easy choice to add Doom Guy on there, even though, like I said, I almost put Alan Wake and Sephiroth.
Yeah.
Doom Guy with his ripping and tearing just feels like he has to be on there and somewhere. Ducey, you're next on our list with Joanna Dark at number 8.
Yep.
From Perfect Dark.
So just a couple years after Lara Croft opened the door, then Joanna Dark came blasting through it. It's like a mashup of my favorite things at the time, where like I couldn't put Bond on this list because he's a character outside of this. But GoldenEye was my favorite game, and then Perfect Dark was the spiritual successor to it. And I didn't even think twice that Joanna was the main character and a woman. Like I was just like, let's go, let's get to doing the secret agent stuff and the spying and the shooting. And for anyone that doesn't think Bond should be a woman like in the future, this game kind of proves that no, you can do that.
They can. And they did this in 2000,
Yes.
24 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, this is another surprise on your list. I think your list might be the most surprising to me because I feel like I know you so well that I was surprised you didn't put others on there. But I did love Perfect Dark for the same reasons you did, and also because we played the hell out of multiplayer. But Joanna Dark, her characterization in the game was something. like they took her seriously. I think that's the other thing too. Is like when a lot of games may not have, or the way they portrayed women back then. Like Cruising USA had women like bikinis, flags and stuff. Joanna Dark's like she's the most grounded special agent they could have portrayed.
Well, like the title is Perfect Dark, and that's because like they had to make a whole new rank for her within the canon of the series. It was like she scored so high as an agent that they just called her perfect.
Yeah, I hope they'll make I shouldn't say no. I hope they're making a new one. They are making a new one. I hope it's good because Microsoft has already said it's going to be the first quadruple A game, which I hate when they set these expectations.
What the heck is that?
Oh my god,
I don't know.
Quadruple A.
It's ridiculous.
Dave Meltzer giving out those ratings.
It's not the Tokyo Dome. So. Yeah, I hope the next Perfect Dark game is really good because Perfect Dark Zero was a bit of a stumble for us.
Yeah, it was.
But nonetheless, Perfect Dark on the N64, it's still top notch. It's one of our favorite N64 games. There you go. Chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah, thank you. So for me, we're going to my number 8 on this one, and I put Reptile on my list from Mortal Kombat. The reason I put him is because when Mortal Kombat came out and I was playing it, I was obviously very much into Power Rangers, and I love the Green Ranger, and seeing this green ninja at the bottom of a pit with the ridiculous way to unlock him was like my favorite thing. I was like, oh, he's like a green scorpion and Sub-Zero. And he's been my favorite Mortal Kombat character since, even though I haven't mained him in all of them. I've used him in most of them. I almost put Kabbalah in his place because he was like my OG in Mortal Kombat 3.
Yeah.
But Reptile, like he is that awesome green ninja from all the games. In Mortal Kombat 1, I've been playing the hell out of him, so I couldn't help but put him on my list at number 8. Even though, I feel like I could have put any other Mortal Kombat character like Randy said.
Yeah, those Mortal Kombat characters, there's so many to choose from that you're not thinking about, all right, who's really the best? You're thinking about who's your favorite.
Yeah, exactly.
And that makes sense. And I do like Reptile a lot too. Even going back to the original Mortal Kombat when he'd pop out and kind of like taunt you almost, and you're like, who is this guy? Who is this?
Where is he? Yeah.
A green ninja?
I like how they slowly incorporated his more reptilian form as the later games went along.
Yeah, and Mortal Kombat 1 is crazy because he transitions in moves. So it's like he's his ninja form, and then he turns into a reptile for some of his moves. So it's like you'll do like this lunge attack that he'll grab with their feet and spin him like an alligator, and but like, he goes in that in reptilian form. Yeah. It's insane. Like that was the big thing with Mortal Kombat 1 is people weren't sure how they're going to treat Reptile, and they managed to make both the reptilian form and his ninja form in one. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. In Mortal Kombat 2, could he go invisible way back then?
He could.
Yeah. I was always like, that's cheating.
Yeah. Even though it took forever to do it.
Yeah.
It's like you could. Yeah, exactly. So we'll go to Mike's number 7, and this was also number 7 on my list, and Randy's number 4. We're talking about Link from The Legend of Zelda.
Yeah, Link. It's funny. I wanted to put him higher, but then I was like,
I did too.
His character, as far as his character goes, like I love playing as him, but I don't know. He's not the most interesting. A lot of times, I guess, is the only thing I can say is that, like...
Well, because he doesn't speak.
Yeah,
he emotes more in the later games.
Yeah.
That's why I have him so high, is because he is a vessel. He is a vessel for the experience you're having in Hyrule.
Right.
And considering he is that for all of those Zelda games, he goes pretty high up there for me because Zelda's the ultimate adventure game.
Yeah,
and it has been
really
for our lifetimes.
But he's also not the same guy in every one.
No,
I mean, not technically, but he's named Link in every one.
Yeah.
And I think he hit us right at the right time where we were like very little kids when, Zelda 1 and 2 and all those other ones came out. But then like the 64 Ocarina of Time game.
And Link to the Past.
Yes. Both of those were both perfect for us, like I think age-wise. And Ocarina of Time, especially for me, was like literally going from a boy into like a teenager kind of thing. So it's like kind of the perfect transition playing that game.
It really was. I even think that's a good point. Yeah, because he was young Link and became adult Link.
Yeah. And you're basically doing that while you're playing him when you're that age, So
that game was like crack back then.
Yeah.
Like it was so highly addictive.
Yeah.
Kitty crack.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's another reason. Ocarina of Time is really why I put him here, is because that character is so iconic for me and so like remembered for the rest of my life that I have to put him on the high.
I agree. He was an easy one to put on my list because I love the Zelda games. There's a few, that aren't great, which is very, and I mean not great in the sense that they're still great games, but they're not my favorite Zelda games. Right. But it's like Link to the Past, like Link is the Hero of Time. That game to me is timeless, as is Ocarina of Time. Yeah. When I was a kid, like I didn't get the hype of Ocarina of Time at first, and I rented it, and I was like, that's it. I have to go buy it. I have to convince my parents to get it because that game was so huge and the best. Even, GoldenEye was out before it, but I would say that was the best Nintendo 64 game at that time.
I definitely think it was. My experience with it was, again, I rented it, but I was looking forward to it. Like, I knew it was coming, and it looked phenomenal. So I did get it, and I rented it from Blockbuster. And I just remember my dad was saying, like, what are you doing playing this? Because it's early on, like in the Kokoro village or whatever. Yeah. And he's like, it's like a kiddie game. Yeah. And I'm here I am. I don't know how old I am at the time. I'm like 13, 14, something like that. And I was saying, like, no, it's really good. It's got like really good puzzles and things like that. And he just went about playing his computer. And I just remember getting up at like 2 a.m. to use the bathroom. And I look over at Dad zombied out on the couch. And he was like, yeah, I picked it up. He's like, I'm addicted to it. So as soon as we returned that, he came home from work with the copy of Ocarina of Time that we owned.
Nice. I think I had a similar story where I rented it first. Because I had only played A Link to the Past a little bit and then rented Ocarina. And my mom was the one that got addicted to it.
Yeah.
And so when we had to take it back, then she was just like, let's get it.
I played it last week. I started playing it last week.
Did you really on Switch Online
Switch
or something?
Online.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I love this game. It's just it's just
really
home
good.
cooking,
Absolutely. I really love the Zelda formula at that time, right? Because back then it was like you collect your 3 pendants or whatever it was, then you go to the 8 dungeons.
Yep.
I love that. It's like I grew to love Breath of the Wild, and I really love Tears of the Kingdom, but I really do wish they would do at least one more game like that old Zelda formula.
Yeah.
If anything, just to scratch my nostalgia itch or the nostalgia fiddle.
Play the nostalgia fiddle. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go to you, Randy, with your number 7, and Ducey put this on his list at number 5, Wario.
Yeah. Love this guy. I just his attitude is great. I love how he's that conniving schemer who will have something blow up in his face and then immediately freak out. It reminds me of someone. I'm not sure who it is. Maybe it's the guy who always picks him in Mario Kart. But I just always kind of liked him a little more than Mario. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the snidey whiplash mustache.
He's a fun-looking character to begin with the purple overalls and the yellow shirts.
Yeah, and I just, like I said, I always pick him in Mario Kart, so it's always just fun to just act like him when something goes bad for me, which is frequent.
Yeah,
I put him on this list, kind of the same reason that I mentioned for Liquid Snake and 006. Like, Wario is this other Mario, but he's like bigger and badder, and he was a great villain in Mario Land 2, and then Mario Land 3 came out, and you got to play as him, and suddenly the Wario Land series was even better than the Mario Land series. And he also sort of transitioned to like
an anti-hero.
Yeah. And also like he was all about just getting money and getting a big castle. And then he started doing these like WarioWare games where he's like making money doing TV and commercials and things.
Yeah, I think Wario's success was because he's the anti-Mario and Nintendo can lean into him being the anti-Mario with those games.
Yeah.
Because I think they wouldn't be able to experiment as much or be comfortable with it with Mario. Like they couldn't do, like Wario Land 3 on Game Boy Color is one of the best Game Boy Color games, one of the best Pro games I think you'll play. No one really talks about it too much, and now it's on Switch Online, which is great, but it's such an open-ended platforming game, and Nintendo could only do that with Wario.
One of his attacks in Smash Brothers is a giant fart.
Yeah.
Like, you can't do that with Mario or Luigi. Or Peach.
One of his other attacks that I use frequently is when you get a motorcycle and you miss your target and you eliminate yourself.
And drive right off the edge.
That's so funny.
Yeah, Wario's the fun one. All of his games, I would say, are really fantastic. I love the platform games. I think he's long overdue for a new game, too, because he's been doing WarioWare for a while, but they haven't done like a true Wario platformer in who knows how long.
He didn't even really get a true 3D platformer, did he?
He got Wario Land Shake It on the Wii.
Okay.
And I think that was really it. I don't know if he got anything on DS.
What was that one on the GameCube? It was like Wario World?
Wario World, yes, there was that too.
Was that a 3D platformer?
That was 3D,
Damn.
yes. I need to get that one. Actually, I forgot about that game. Yeah, so Wario's a fun one. Again, that's another one I wasn't sure. I thought it might be on Randy's list, but I wasn't sure if it would be on Deuce's list.
I was surprised to see it on Deuce's list.
All right, Deuce, you're going to start with your number 6 here. This is Albert Wesker from the Resident Evil series.
Yes, another villain. When Don opened up this list to villains as well as heroes, I was like, ooh. Resident Evil is one of my top series of all times, and I'd say Wesker is probably one of the top villains of all times for just longevity. Like, you didn't expect him, because I played Resident Evil 2 first, and you heard about him from the first game, but you thought, oh, well, that's over. He's gone. And then Code Veronica came back, and I was like, oh, now he's got, like, superpowers.
Well, and that's the thing, is you wouldn't expect him to come back, because in Resident Evil 1, he's impaled by a tyrant.
Yes.
Like, you assume he's dead because he just got blasted through his body.
But he was just, like, so cool. You kind of rooted for him, like,
with the shades and
you knew he was, like, collecting all of these viruses and doing something, like, major. He was plotting for the longest time, but also you kind of wanted to see where he was going with this.
Yeah,
let him cook.
He's definitely one of the most memorable characters, if only for his twist with backstabbing, right? Because when you get to the mansion in Resident Evil 1, you're all assuming everyone's on the same base level, like they're trying to discover what's happened to the Bravo team, right?
Yeah.
And it turns out Wesker this entire time is playing all of you. Every time you meet up with him, he's feigning ignorance.
Some scenes even make you think it's one of the other people, like Bravo team's person is betraying, or Barry.
Oh yeah.
But instead,
especially
like,
Barry,
at the last second, it's Wesker, and you're like, ooh, that guy.
And he's had a pretty crazy story arc since then, and like you said, it's amazing he's had that longevity since Resident Evil 1. Like they put him in more games probably than like, you know, probably Chris or something.
Yeah.
Or, you know, other characters that get less screen time, and they're heroes.
I liked in the Resident Evil 4 remake, I feel like he got more scenes and more screen time.
I think he did, especially in separate ways as well. Yeah.
It was weird how little he was in any of the movies until the later movies.
Yeah.
And then he became like...
Well, the movies are the movies.
Yeah.
That'd be a fun one to break down. I don't know. Those movies they're something else.
At least he was kind of a little bit accurate in the Welcome to Raccoon City movie, which I do applaud for being video game accurate.
Trying to be faithful.
Yeah, it was
100%.
very, 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 very faithful. It was also very, very, very not good. But, but it wasn't the worst.
Yeah. It's a fun watch for a couple hours.
Exactly. You watch it and appreciate what they do, and then just wish that they just did it better.
Yeah. Mike, you're number 6, Kratos from the God of War series. This is another great choice.
Yeah. You know what's funny is that if the God of War games on PlayStation 4 and 5 didn't come out, I don't know if I put him on this list. Because
that's interesting, because I thought you would have put it because you had history with the originals.
Old Kratos, as far as characters go, I didn't really like him, because his whole story arc was like, the hero's badass, and then he's badass, and then he's badass, and that's it.
And he's also kind of a jerk.
And he was a jerk, and he wasn't like you didn't really want to root for him, you know? But I love the idea of him, like, having a kid, settling down, chilling out. And then I really, really love the character in the last 2 games. He's just such a brilliant change of pace, where it's this, like, elderly god who's trying to keep his son safe and, you know, kind of wrestle with his past at the same time. And I love that. I thought the lore throughout, the character development throughout, the change in character was brilliant. And it's like, I think as I've aged and gotten older, like, I appreciate where he's coming from now as a character. Where he's like, I'm not as good as I once was, but I might be as good as a good once as I ever was, that kind of thing. So that's what I love that character now. Yeah, that's why I put him up so high.
He might be the omission where as soon as I saw it on the list, I was like, oh,
yeah,
Kratos. What was I? How did I not even really come to my mind when I was making this list and the honorable mentions to not bring up Kratos?
Yeah,
because that God of War from 2015 or 16, 17, something like that.
Yeah, the newer one.
So that game,
yeah.
When I did get to play it at the beginning of the pandemic,
Same.
just absolutely blew my mind, because I was not a fan of the original God of War games. They weren't that great, and people kept saying, oh, this God of War, the first one that came out, like, this is the game of the year. And I'm like, nah, I played Resident Evil 4 and that's the game of the year. But these ones are just absolutely phenomenal, because it provides like the kind of mindless mayhem of like Doom. You know, you can really get into it just because you're just destroying everything, but also just has an amazing story and exploration and this great relationship between father and son, which does make you like Kratos more in these new games than those old ones.
Yeah. He's fighting for something, not just himself. Like, he was so selfish in all the other games that he didn't really care. And this one, he's actually fighting for something.
Yeah, the new Kratos, or the reinvented Kratos, may as well have no connection to the original as far as character, because in here you're right, he's a lot more deeper. He has a lot more lore. You know, even then, it's like they still reference the original games, because in the originals, it's also contemporary of the time where it's just uses this like you said, the badass, the
Psychopath.
badass, misogynist,
Yeah.
sleep. Like there's a scene, there's a quick time event where you're having sex with like
like nymphs
maidens
or
or
yeah.
nymphs or something, right?
Yeah.
Like in 2004, that's what they did. And then this Kratos, like he still kind of acknowledges his adventures from those games, but it's also he doesn't want to go back to what he was doing back then. Like he doesn't want to be like this murderous god kind of character.
He's changed. He wants to settle down, raise a family.
Yeah, so I agree. Like if I'd agree with you, Mike. Like if I was to put Kratos on my list, it wouldn't be because of the originals. It would totally be because of the reboots and the second one, which
Yeah.
I don't know if you haven't played yet. But
I haven't played, but I've seen cutscenes.
it's amazing. I think Randy did finish it, right? God of War, the second God of
Yeah,
War, Ragnarok?
yeah, I finished both of them.
That's what I thought.
I didn't. I played it on the PS4 version. I did not have it. I did not play the PS5
Me
version.
neither, because I beat it
unfortunately.
before PS5 came out. I think, or no, did I?
No, I
don't
think you
remember.
got it on PS5.
Maybe I did. Okay, maybe I did. I don't remember. It was like 4 years ago.
Yeah, it's been out for a while.
Yeah, fantastic game though. I would definitely recommend anyone play it, especially the new ones. Randy, we'll go to you for your number 6, Zangief from Street Fighter 2
All
and
right.
everything else.
Nice.
So, just to keep it simple, this is relatively new for me because I was never that big of a Zangief guy. My favorite thing about Zangief was his little bits of dialogue in the Street Fighter movie, which were pretty funny.
yeah.
He checked your pronunciation. It's Zangief.
Zangief, yeah. He's on here because in the recent Street Fighter games, like I just kind of like as you see a little bit more of their character. Now those Street Fighter games, what they show you of their character is a little weird. Like you only see the like little bits of snips. Like it doesn't seem to be a coherent story there, but there is. But Zangief's always just doing his own thing. Everyone else is trying to be like the world warrior, the world champion. Zangief just wants to be strong. That's all he's doing. He wants him to be strong. He wants you to be just as strong as him. Like that's a good dude to root for. And and then when I started playing Street Fighter 6 and I finally tried out Zangief, I was like, oh, this is perfect. I don't have to spend time learning all these intricate combos because I'm not patient. I love fighting games, but I'm not patient to do a lot of those things and how stringent they are. So instead, I'll just learn the absolute best time to use a spinning pile driver on you, which, spoiler alert, is all the time.
All the time. Yeah, this is a good choice as well. I was never a big Zangief fan as a kid. Excuse me, Mike. Excuse me. You'll be my checker. As a kid, because I wasn't good with him. And then when I got older, I learned of tick throws and all that. Then I grew to really love him because I could get really good at those. And then Street Fighter 6, you're right. Like that's probably his best iteration so far.
He feels so fun to play, but there's also the sad reality that he is probably the worst character in the game.
He's not the worst.
Well, no, I mean like at a competitive standpoint. Like that's what there's a few people
He's
there's one
there.
guy who does amazing things with him.
There is.
But he's got a lot of weaknesses.
Yeah, just go look up Snake Eyes Zangief in every game, and you'll be blown away.
Zangief reminds me of the Wario of Street Fighter.
Yeah.
He kind of is. Like he's kind of the whimsical, clown. I like it. We'll go to my number 6, and on my list, I put Dante from the Devil May Cry series. So I saw previews of Devil May Cry in the magazines. I knew it was by Shinji Mikami, who'd done Resident Evil. And then Resident Evil Code Veronica X included a demo of Devil May Cry. And the moment I played it, I was instantly sold because of the stylistic combo system it had, where I remember very easily using your sword to basically uppercut an enemy into the air. And you could shoot them in
Juggle.
midair. And Dante is just like this idiot badass who just he's like a demon hunter and he's invincible and he's basically infused with the power of his demonic father Alistair, and he's just like such an awesome character to play as. Like he just shoots the shit out of everything.
I remember how much I loved Devil May Cry because of him, because he's such a cool character.
He's such a
He
cool
was so
character.
cool.
He's just so stylistic. And granted, Devil May Cry 2 wasn't good. They started to get great with Devil May Cry 3, and then I don't know if you guys have played Devil May Cry 4, but he's like the old man badass in that one. And like any game I play, he's just an awesome character to play with all of his quips. I think he's heavily influenced from like the action movies of the time, like the John Woo and like the Matrix and everything like that. But for me, he was an easy choice to put on my list. Like I knew I was going to put something from Devil May Cry on here. Randy, we'll go with your number 5 right now, Revolver Ocelots from the Metal Gear Solid series.
When I was making this list, obviously these characters can be any type of character. You don't necessarily have to play as them. But obviously, most of these characters are the ones you play as. There was one that I knew immediately. If there's any non-player character that's going on my list, it is going to be Revolver Ocelot. Revolver Ocelot is a staple of the Metal Gear Solid franchise. He's constantly, he's one of the first bosses you face in Metal Gear Solid. And then he loses an arm. And so you think, oh, that's going to be the end of him. Nope, because he comes back in Metal Gear Solid 2. And then when they flash back into Metal Gear Solid 3, there's a younger version of him who's just as cocky.
That was so amazing to see.
Moved to Metal Gear Solid 4, and now all of a sudden he's like the main bad guy. And moved to Metal Gear Solid 5, and he's like your mentor. He's been a constant force that's been, if you get into the lore of him, his story is crazy interesting.
He's in every era.
He's in every single era. Yeah. And he's a pivotal part of every single era. And finding out what you find out at the end of Metal Gear Solid 4 was kind of a pretty cool trip.
Yeah.
Considering that he's always been this constant antagonist in your side. Mm-hmm. But his voice acting was always played with such a plum.
Well, it's also great. Also, when you get to the end of Metal Gear Solid 1, like the post-credits audio is you hear him speaking to somebody. Yep. And he's just responding because it's a two-way phone call, but you only hear Revolver's side. And he's like saying, yes. And he's like, yes, Mr. President. And then the game ends.
Yeah.
And then you're trying to be like, he's talking to the president? Like, what is going on? Then you find out Metal Gear 2, and, he's like a big part of that story as well. And I agree with you. Like, I didn't know where you'd place Revolver off because I figured like, if anything was going to be on Metal Gear, there's going to be Solid Snake and Revolver. And I figured we are going to put Revolver on there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, he's an outstanding. He is my favorite non-playable character in all of video games.
Yeah, I would say so. He's up there for sure, especially one who's just like has such a mark throughout every game in the series at any point in its timeline.
Yeah,
it's pretty crazy. I'll talk about my number 5. This is Alucard from Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Mike, when you put Eric from Castlevania Bloodlines, I felt the same way where I knew I was going to put a character from some Castlevania game. Yeah. I wasn't sure. I was thinking maybe Trevor or Simon, but I realized that with how much I love Symphony of the Night, I had to put Alucard on there because he's the son of Dracula. He has all these magical powers. He's basically Dracula, but a good guy.
Yeah.
So how can you not love freaking Dracula? Plus, that game alone is like, it's one of my favorite games of all time. Like, I'll play through that at least like once a year just to play through. So that was, for me, was an easy choice. I was going to put it higher. I was like, I think I have some other big ones to put on there. Okay, Deucey. So we'll go to number 4, Nathan Drake from Uncharted.
Yes. This one I had to put on there. He was like probably the second guy I thought of, or the second character I thought of after my number 1. But then he bumped down a little when I thought of more. He is basically me if I was doing Indiana Jones stuff. Like, I will quip like him. He's kind of like a Spider-Man, but, without the powers. He's just gets into these ridiculous situations when he's trying to find treasure. And so he talks his way out of it, and he jokes his way through it. And then he also just has sort of a little bit of luck to, not die in a train crash or a plane crash. Or was there a boat? I bet there was a boat crash, too.
There was a boat, yes.
You say he without the Spider-Man powers, and I'm like, if I'm really thinking about it, he kind of does have Spider-Man powers. The amount of hanging by like a finger that he does in those games.
Yeah.
I think Spider-Man played him.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I still would say the closest parallel is obviously Indiana Jones. Like I would say Uncharted is like an amalgamation of Indiana Jones and Tomb Raider.
Yep.
And ramped up with some of the humor of Spider-Man, like you said. But also I think it's like leaning more towards Indiana Jones. But I do love the Uncharted games. Like they're some of the best experiences you could have on PlayStation.
Indiana Jones is like your dad's treasure hunter, and then Nathan Drake was the next generation.
He really was. Yeah. He's Indy Jr. Yeah. All right, Mike, we'll go with your number 4, and this is a fun choice on here, too. I didn't expect this at all. You put Gordon Freeman for Half-Life on yours.
Yeah,
all right.
And, it's funny because Deuce said that how the last one was like you in a nutshell. Gordon Freeman is like me in a nutshell. But here's why. A lot of you guys have said this before when you picked your first-person shooter characters, like Doom Guy, and that like they're basically vessels for you. This one is the ultimate vessel for you because out of all of those characters, this is the one that you could most likely be.
Yeah.
It's just a random scientist that's on like having a bad day, basically.
A pretty bad
Amazing sets of weapons to choose from.
Yeah. So of all of the main characters that we could possibly be, Gordon Freeman is probably the one that we could aspire to.
I would say, out of all one list as far as humanoids, like, we probably could be scientists out of all these.
I'm sticking with Wario.
Yeah. I like Gordon. I actually really like Gordon. I grew to like him more as the games Half-Life 2 and all the other games came out,
Especially Half-Life 2, I would say.
Yeah, because you really got to get to know him. He was literally just an empty vessel in Half-Life 1. He was just you.
He's a silent protagonist throughout the entire series.
Yeah, you know nothing about him, really.
Yeah, so it's interesting that they are able to build a character just with who you're interacting with, right? Because it's not like he's giving us a narration of his story or anything like that. Like, everything you find out is through, like, lore you find in the game or characters talking to you.
Yeah, and he's not like a super soldier. He's not like a giant mutant. He's not, anything. He's just this normal scientist guy. Who
Trying to figure out a crisis of interdimensional beings invading. That's all.
Turning people into zombies. Yeah. But yeah, that's why I love him. And Half-Life was one of the first like PC games that I remember that no one really knew about. I had gotten kind of on the ground floor of and loving it. And I was like, this game rocks. I don't know why nobody talks about this game.
You're right, because it was hard to learn about, especially PC games, because a lot of us didn't have PCs that could run things. And my buddy Brandon had it. I'd never heard of Half-Life, and I was watching him play. I was like, this game looks amazing. Like, just with the crowbar, the physics, the sense of immersion. Like, it's something that you couldn't really get on console at the time at all.
The light and the sound design in that game were excellent.
The sound, especially. I remember I got stuck at a part because the monster was like going based on sound, and you had to like tiptoe past it. It was one of the few PC games my PC could actually run, so I really loved what it was doing for the shooter genre.
It was awesome. Yeah.
Half-Life 2, if you guys haven't played it, I would definitely recommend it.
That
it's
is
still
an all-timer.
It's 20 years old now, which is incredible. And also, it has the 2 episodes that are also attached to it. They're like sort of like DLC missions that are like, I don't know, 3-4 hours long. Also very excellent. And also, obviously, the ongoing joke is, Valve, please make Half-Life 3.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any day now.
For God's sake. Do
20 years
something.
later.
Gotta see what Gordon's up to these days.
So we're moving into top threes, essentially. So, Ducey, you're going to start with your number 3. This is also something I had on my list at number 3. We put Mega Man and X.
Nice.
Yeah.
Proper choice, I would say.
2 times they've done that.
Yeah.
That's right. That's true.
So I put both of them on there, and before anybody actuallys me, I know they're 2 different characters.
That's why I put you can't see it on my list, but I put Mega Man /X.
Yes.
To
Randy and I were not going to
No, we were absolutely not going to unactually that.
We just assumed they were the same person.
Yeah.
What? They learned something.
I was just
today.
getting ready to check out for a bit because I don't know a lot about
Yeah. But I just love these characters because we've covered them before in our top 10s and other things, but like they're basically the same character, just decades apart or centuries apart.
And generations apart, really, from the Nintendo to Super Nintendo.
And they do the same thing. You beat the boss, you get its weapon, you change into pretty colors, and then you fight the next boss with that weapon. And I just loved that. And then X came along, and you could get the body armor parts, so you could get a different look. And it was just simple gameplay: go left to right, shoot a lot of things, and rinse and repeat.
This was an easy choice to put on especially my top 3. I knew I was going to put Mega Man and X on there because beyond the fact that these games were, I played the hell of them when we were kids. It's just like everything you said, like the fun of beating a boss and getting a new power, not discovering what it was, and then having to find the weaknesses of the bosses. And Mega Man X, to me, it's one of the most sublime games you could still play today. And X is like such an awesome character because he's a great evolution of Mega Man. Like, he has a lot more abilities, wall kicks, like you said, the armor upgrades. Everything else is just ramped up to what I would expect, the next step in evolution for Mega Man to be. So I could have just put X on there, but I was like, no, I got to put Mega Man and X on there. So yeah.
Yeah, Mega Man started it for me, and then X even was the evolution where he was the android with feelings, and Mega Man was just the robot that he could save us or he could just be a boy.
Yeah.
If you guys had a pick between Mega Man or X on your list, which one would you take off? Which one would you leave on between Mega Man and X?
I think I would keep Mega Man.
I would put X.
Yeah.
Oh, dissension there.
Yeah, because Mega Man X, like I said, like that game is just infinitely replayable for me. And as much love as I have for the original Mega Man games, especially 2 and 3 and 4 to an extent, X is just that game for me. Like,
well, I mean, like main character wise too.
X.
Yeah,
X. For all those reasons, and like like Ducey also said, like he's a character with emotions now. Like, he has relationships with like Zero, and he's able to sort of, the whole thing is like he's standing up to the bad guys now versus, like Ducey said before, he's just like a robot sent on a mission to make sure we don't die.
And I would choose Mega Man because you get 11 games of kind of the same thing, but variations of the levels. And X had some ups and downs. It
had a lot of downs.
There were not some great games, and then there was towards the end it really fell off. But I like Mega Man's longevity.
Nice.
That's fair. You have 31 flavors of delicious.
Yeah.
I agree. All right, Mike, we'll go to your number 3. You guys have a lot of great picks from Street Fighter on here, and I love it. It's we have Guile from Street Fighter 2 and beyond.
I'm kind of surprised he wasn't on yours, but I know you.
I know. I had to juggle so much.
Yeah. I knew I wanted a Street Fighter character, and I knew Guile's my guy. So ever since Street Fighter 2 came out, and it was the first time I ever played it, I always wanted to play as Guile, but I was terrible with him because unlike Chun-Li and E Honda, where you could just press one button all the time and you might accidentally win a game, he couldn't do that. It wasn't an option for Guile. So I didn't like playing with him as much. Though I got better with him as I played, and I wanted to get better with him. But he is kind of tough to play as, like until you figure out the controls. But the characterization of him is just 90s Americana at like its like most. He's got that flat top, ridiculous flat top, blonde hair.
The flag tattoo.
It's not regulation.
No way. When he runs the comb through his hair and like his stage, I really loved his stage, his music. And then as I got into like the actual mythology of the character and like all of the stuff going on in the story, I actually really liked his character a lot more. I thought that he dealt with tragedy, with Charlie Nash dying and all, or whatever happened with him. And I thought his motivations were interesting. And then Street Fighter 2, the animated movie, came out, and I really liked him in that too. And then obviously Jean-Claude as Guile is the cherry on top of it.
That really is. Yeah, fantastic. I would say it's a great choice. I didn't. We'll talk about my choices when we get to it because I had a hard time picking one from the series.
I knew it would be your hardest thing to do.
I just wanted to add that if this was the top 10 video game characters hairstyles,
it's going up.
Guile's number
Guile's
one.
probably numero
uno.
Oh my god, for sure.
Yeah, Guile is like you said, like if you were to say American in the 90s in an AI image generator, it probably would spit out Guile.
Like American bro.
American bro
in a Japanese AI.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Randy, we'll go to your number 3, which is another fantastic choice, Commander Shepard from the Mass Effect series.
All right, Mass Effect series is probably my favorite RPG series. And I remember playing them way back when they first came out, by the end of Mass Effect 3, which every game carried your save file. So I've had this long arcing story with this Commander Shepard through three whole games. And, go through that and finished it. By the time I was done, that's an all-time trilogy for me. Then they released Mass Effect Remastered. So I went back and did it all again. Only this time, I swapped it to have my Commander Shepard be the female Commander Shepard. I had always heard that the voice actor for the female Shepard was a significant upgrade over the male actor. And I was like, well, I already did the male actor before, so let's give this a whirl. And they weren't lying. Jennifer Hale does a great job giving personality to
it's Jennifer Hale.
I was about to mention, yeah, exactly.
There you go. And just, it's hard for me to have very many characters above him or her because that series is just phenomenal from top to bottom.
I completely agree with everything you said because I had put Shepard on my list initially, and when I was trying to bump another character out, I was like, well, Randy's got this, so we could talk about it. I'm just excited to talk. Someone mentioned Commander Shepard. I knew Randy would.
Yeah.
Because you and I are in agreement where this is one of the best gaming trilogies ever. Easily. Even with some of the issues with 3, which for me aren't really issues. Like, I accept the final ending it originally had. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
If anything, I think it kind of sucks that they went back to change it because people were, shaking their trees and being angry about stuff.
Yeah.
But regardless of all that, of all the noise around it, I think just the story arc from the beginning game, from Mass Effect 1 to 3, is something that you have to experience. And I played all 3 like back to back when the remaster came out. I would do it again. Like those games are just that phenomenal.
Yeah, and also I could honestly put almost every single member of that crew on my honorable mention.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
Specifically calling out Garrus and Tali.
It's one of those games that I love because your choices matter. Like you're making choices, and the things that happen can actually have significant consequences for you.
Yeah.
So you more identify with the character and care more about the character because you are not just a vessel, or it's not just a vessel for you, but you're also making legitimate choices.
You're making your story, and it's fun because when I played through them in all back to back, you really start to see like even the smallest choices you made in the previous game affect something. Like you have an offhand conversation with like an NPC who references something you did, which I might have forgotten when I played Mass Effect 2 for the first time because it would have been I think 2 or 3 years after Mass Effect 1 came out, and then 3 came out 2 or 3 years after that. So when you're playing back to back, you really recognize how much detail there is in the choices you make and how much they do affect certain things, because they'll reference that relationship and then you'll get something negative or positive out of it. So I'm glad you put this on your list, Randy, because I really wanted to, and I was hoping we could talk about Shepard. All right, so we're getting the top twos. Mike, you're gonna kick us off with twos. You put Mario from the Mario Brothers series.
Yeah.
Who? Yeah.
This is one where I knew I was gonna have him, and I knew he was gonna. It was just about placement. Honestly, it was like, where do I place Mario? And he's the ultimate main character as far as I'm concerned. He's the ultimate first main character you think of in a video game. If you got to think of like the first thing that comes in your head, it's probably Mario. He's so iconic, culturally iconic, video game wise iconic. His character obviously is pretty shallow for a while, but you know what I'll say? There was the cartoon that I watched when I was a kid.
It doesn't even matter, yeah.
And there's enough where I got the lore of it a lot more as I went on. And then obviously the newest movie is excellent, and he's great in it, and he's a great main character. Another everyman like Gordon Freeman, another guy who you could kind of say anybody could be him. And he's just like this Italian plumber.
Yeah.
So it's kind of easy to identify with. And I think he's great all around. I just love him.
Yeah, his backstory, it doesn't matter, really. It's everything about the characters themselves, like how they're designed, their color schemes, everything else. I think that's what resonates with all of us. Mm-hmm. And also beyond the fact that the games are phenomenal and everything we grew up with, like you say, with the cartoon, the toys, Super Mario Bros. Movie. I love that. I know it's awful.
Yeah.
But, there's a reason he's persisted over the last 40 years. And arguably, without Mario being successful, none of these games would exist.
And the later games have really fleshed out his character a lot more. Like the last, like a lot of the Switch games have really fleshed out his character a lot more.
Yeah, they definitely have. Yeah, and you could play any of those games now. I don't think there's really a terrible Mario game.
Gosh, there really isn't.
It's funny. I think a lot of his games, like Mario RPG or the RPG Marios, the paper ones and stuff, they sort of lean into the fact that he didn't have much of a character other than he's just the hero and everybody's afraid of him.
It's a punchline. It's
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do love that. Yeah, this Italian plumber strikes fear in the hearts of everybody in this world.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's really fantastic. Randy, we have your number 2 here. We have Scorpion from Mortal Kombat.
All right. Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. Like I said, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, a lot of those fighting games that have endured for as long as they have a lot of amazing characters to choose from because you've learned so much about them over the years. But no one is more iconic than Scorpion. He's got a great backstory with his family and his rivalry with Sub-Zero and how he's being used. He's basically like Ninja Ghost Rider.
Yes, that's a great way of putting it.
Yeah, but he's on here, and the reason he's so cool and so revered is because back in those arcades, there was the coolest sound you ever heard come out of the arcade was sound of that spear, the sounds that it makes, followed by the "get over here," and you're like, "What is this game?" Like he was the only character that did that. He said that and come here,
Yeah,
and so even back then, he was distinctive in that way, and then as the games become more involved and they can actually flesh out the story more and you can actually play through a story, unlike just having a little block of text to tell you about them, his story was always the most interesting.
It was. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny that he's kind of the Wolverine of the Mortal Kombat.
He really is.
They were trying to push Liu Kang and other characters on you, and you were like, no, give me more Scorpion.
Scorpion is the star. Yeah, Scorpion, he's by far the most popular character. Ed Boon's gone on record obviously saying that's his favorite character. And in every game, he's basically the most popular character. Because you're right, dude. It's funny that Liu Kang was supposed to be the white meat babyface to save the realm.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I want that Spectre badass who throws a harpoon out of his wrist and right through someone's throat. So... yeah, I wasn't sure where you'd put Scorpion on your list because I know he's one of your favorites.
I knew he was going to be
ever.
high because he's just been a mainstay for so long.
Yeah.
Every Mortal Kombat game that's came out, he was always my favorite.
He was my brother's favorite for a lot of reasons. Also because he had one of the most iconic fatalities with Sub-Zero's in Mortal Kombat 1, where he would take his mask off and all you see is a skull, and he just spits fire and just cooks you right.
Yeah,
right there.
I did that accidentally at home, and my mind was blown.
Well, it's funny. I imagine because you only have to hit up when you hit block, so it's easy to just accidentally eke out. I would imagine just you're mashing buttons, all of a sudden he just takes his mask off. But yeah, Scorpion, I would definitely say is worthy of your top 3. Mm-hmm. My number 2, I kind of cheated here a little bit because unlike Mega Man and X, these guys are pretty different. I put Ryu and Ken from Street Fighter on here. The reason I put them, like I could have put Guile, I could have put Vega, I could have put a lot of Street Fighter characters on here, but the reason I grew to love Street Fighter was because of Ryu and Ken. Ryu is like the stoic, sort of wise, centered warrior, and Ken is like the pretty boy guy who's overly confident and cocky. He's like the anti-Ryu, but he's still doing what Ryu wants to do. Like, Ken just wants to be the best fighter he can be, and Ryu wants to be the guy who wants to learn to fight and be the best he can be as well. But these guys really set my love for fighting games to begin with. Like, this is where everything started. When my buddy brought over Street Fighter 2, like, the only thing I wanted to play was Street Fighter 2. So they were the reason why I learned all the moves and got patient with it. Like, I eventually learned Guile and all the other characters, but my first fighting game characters were Ryu and Ken, so I had to put them on my list, and it was easy to put them at number 2.
I'd say they were my first 2 also, and then I never strayed away from them.
A lot of people don't, and
they're
it's
the
fair.
prototypes.
Yeah,
They're the balanced.
they're meant to be that center of fighting games.
And they're enough different, especially in the later games, that you can kind of pick which one you want to play as more, But I would agree. The first Street Fighter game I ever played was at a round table pizza.
Yep, that's exactly where I played.
Ryu and Ken were the first 2 players I played as because they just looked the coolest.
They look cool, yeah. Ken with his red gi and Ryu with his white gi, and then later, like you said, they added different flourishes to make them stand out and differentiate each other. But Ken had like the flaming uppercut, like that was the coolest freaking move ever when I was like 9 years old. So Street Fighter 2, landmark game for me, one of the best of all time, and Ryu Ken, easy top choice for me.
Easy.
So now we get into our number ones here, and Deuce, you're gonna kick us off with your number 1, and you put Luigi.
Yes,
which I expected
because so the weird thing is, I mentioned it earlier to you, was I forgot. Like, when we were talking about this list, I was like, oh, like, what iconic characters can I put? Mario, Link, Cloud, and stuff. And then I was like, wait, Luigi.
Yeah.
Luigi is my number 1 because it's just me. Like, I choose him in every game possible, every sports game. Even back in the day when I played Mario 1 on Nintendo, like, I wanted to be Luigi even though you couldn't, because a lot of times I was playing by myself and you're just forced to play as Mario. But there was always that other character there that I wanted to play as. And I originally liked him, I think because he was the underdog and Mario got all the attention. And I was just like, well, Luigi's still here, guys. Like, and then he was being left out of games like Mario RPG and Mario 64. And I'm like, don't do that to Luigi.
That almost is weird. It's like they were intentionally leaving him out. Like they wanted to leave him and put him like in the in the unused Mario characters box or something.
Yeah, and then he made a comeback finally in Smash Brothers, the original for N64, and Luigi's Mansion was actually pretty damn fun. It was like, Luigi is now a Ghostbuster.
Yeah, the only thing that Luigi's Mansion really had against it was that everyone expected a Mario game at launch of the game.
Yeah.
That's really I think that's the only reason people didn't like it. And I use that term loosely, obviously, but that's the reason why it didn't get as popular as it could have, because everyone expected Mario. But it's a really awesome game.
At least he stuck with it and he got a trilogy out of it.
Yeah, the third game is really good on Switch. If you guys haven't played it, it's freaking excellent.
Yeah.
Was Mario 2 the one where he got his iconic design? Was that the first
He
one?
he could jump higher, and then he had that flutter kick.
And he also looked different. Like, he was a little taller and skinnier than Mario. Do you think that's why
he was just
wasn't?
a palette swap in the first one.
Right.
And even in the third one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was just green and short and stubby.
Green
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I genuinely don't remember ever seeing him in the third one because I never really saw people play 2 players.
I had siblings. I played 2 players, so I did see him. But you're right. Like, it wasn't frequent. Like, it was always. I was usually playing with myself.
Actually, he was different in the original Mario 2 for Japan. He looked the same, but he could jump higher in that one.
Oh, and that's what they gave
yeah.
it to him in the
I didn't realize
second
that.
one.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, Mike, we have your number 1, which was Deucey's number 2 as
Yes.
well. We have the iconic Samus Aran from Metroid.
Yeah. And
And I also had this at number 4 as well, I should say.
and it's so hard to not say a bunch about it, but I'll try to keep it as brief as I can. So, I wasn't a big Metroid kid growing up, but I had cousins who would play it all the time, and I thought Samus's design in the original Metroids, Metroid 2, were just awesome. Like, they looked really cool, and it was one of the first video game rumors where people would tell me, like, oh yeah, that's a girl. And I'm like, oh, it doesn't look like a girl.
Yeah.
It's got armor on. Girls can't have armor. And, all that kind of stuff. And they're like, no, man, like, if you beat the game, she takes all her clothes off for some reason. And I'm like, what? This sounds like a game I gotta finish. I never beat it, but it was always that like rumor, and I never knew it was true until I became an adult.
Yeah, you got a code.
Yeah.
Justin Bailey.
And that's when you found out that Samus is actually a female. And what's Samus's last name?
Aaron.
Yeah. But they don't ever make it a thing. It's not like until the later games, she's just badass. She's just a badass space bounty hunter thing. And
the fact that, like you said, they held it to the end of the game until you entered a code was a big deal. The fact that they didn't want to make promise that this was a female lead in a game. Yeah.
And then she just became kind of this iconic female lead, like representation for females. Just like Miss Pac-Man, just like Lara Croft. Like my list had a theme going. Striking blows for women's rights left and right. And I think that Samus was like, kind of inspired Lara Croft. Like, I don't know if Lara Croft happens if Samus doesn't open the gate up first for her to be there.
I'd say that's fair, because before this, I don't really, aside from Miss Pac-Man, like there wasn't, a female lead like Samus ever, and she was inspired by Ripley from Alien, right? So it's also like it's sort of this cascading effect where it's like with Alien in 1979 inspired Metroid, right? It's sort of just something that, as a whole, what else did it inspire? What else wouldn't be here if it weren't for those two characters?
What about you, Deuce? You had it at 2.
Yeah, because Super Metroid is my top game of my life, and
it's amazing. I only started playing it for the first time like a month ago, and I was like, "Why have I never played this game? It's so awesome!"
And like I mentioned a couple episodes ago, like Metroid was the first game I played, even if I didn't realize it. But it never occurred to me that like Samus couldn't be a woman. Like when you're playing as it, you're like, "This is just a badass character," and then it was kind of a cherry on top that it was a woman kicking so much ass. And I had played that even before I had played a Miss Pac-Man or before I had played Tomb Raider. So I was like, you go, girl.
Yeah, and it's really cool. Now, I will say that like there are games that handle that really badly, like Other M.
Oh, yeah.
That's
like a blemish on the
It's a big blemish, and it's like really does do the character a big disservice in that game. So look out for that. They do treat her poorly sometimes.
We don't play that game.
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of good it's on the Wii where no one really cared to go back.
Yeah, thank goodness, right? Yeah, but other than that, their games are always good, and she's always awesome. Samus is always awesome.
Yeah, I'm with you, Mike. Like I was a little bit of a late bloomer to the Metroid party. I would always borrow from Ducey, couldn't get anywhere, and it wasn't until I got really into Metroidvanias where I understood how the games worked.
Yeah.
That's where I fell in love with the character and Metroid games in general. And that's like, especially with like Metroid Prime was probably the first one that I was like really invested in.
Yeah.
And that's why I was going back to the franchise to try to beat them. And now it's like, it's one of my favorite series in history. So for me, it was easy to put her on my top 5. Like I nestled her in right at number 4. but absolutely. One of the most influential characters in all of gaming. Mm-hmm. So for our final selection here, me and Randy had the same choice, which I kind of expected this, Randy.
I think of all the lists, I think that mine might have been the most predictable.
Am
I wrong about that?
No, I think you had some on there that I figured, but in this instance, the one we're talking about is Solid Snake from Metal Gear Solid.
100%. So this game was absolutely blew my mind back in the day. My first experience of it was going home with my friend Justin, and he was talking about this game, Metal Gear Solid, that he got on PlayStation. I didn't have a PlayStation. I had a N64 and a Sega Saturn. And I was watching it, and basically he was at the torture scene.
Oh
yeah. And
that's a great
he
one
was
to come
saying
in on.
like it doesn't matter if you pass it or you fail it, you can keep moving, but he wants to pass it, and he couldn't do it. So I basically just did it for him, and that was my first experience. And I hate button mashing, but
that one's really hard too.
It's a really hard one. It's not
masher.
as bad as the microwave thing in 4.
No,
but it's pretty brutal.
Yeah,
and especially now in my older age, I imagine it probably feels even worse. But anyway. And then one time he brought it over to the house, so we all, me, him, and my dad, we were all taking turns playing through the story. And this was, at that time, was easily, bar none, the best story that had ever been told in a video game. Like, as far as, from a cinematic point. Like, you could say maybe some other Final Fantasies or whatever. Maybe they had some better lore going on and it was interesting and all that. But it was not presented to you in a cinematic fashion in the way that this one was. And the David Hayter playing Solid Snake is just
flawless.
Absolutely iconic.
Flawless.
Probably the single best voice acting in video game right there.
Yeah, I first learned of this game watching GamePro TV. I just happened to catch it. And what blew me away in what they showed was when Solid Snake is walking through the snow and you see his steps, and then a guard tracks his steps to where you're hiding. That sold me on the game instantly in there. I didn't know anything else about the game. I knew nothing about it. I just knew that for that reason, it looked awesome. Because I think this was after I'd played like Tenchu and all those games where, there was some sort of, some little stealth. And this was totally next level looking to me. So I got it, and like you said, like just even at the opening, it's one of the most cinematic things. It was the most cinematic thing I think I'd ever seen in a video game at the time, just because of how it opens. Like it has like the black bars on top, like a widescreen presentation, like a movie. Like there's cast that's appearing on the screen, and like there are cut camera angles that are very specific in how to present Solid Snake appearing and introducing him. And like you have that first room, and you take out a couple of guards, and like that's a really good sort of like beginning training area room, because you're kind of learning everything on how to knock them out, or with the cones of vision they have.
Tap on the wall,
and then you get in the elevator, and that's when a title crawl comes up. Like you're going up the elevator, and it says Metal Gear Solid. And throughout that whole thing, like I was glued to this game the entire time. Like my buddy was over, he was watching me play it, and with Solid Snake being who he is, with David Hayter, like he just sounded like that gruff badass. Very much inspired by Snake Plissken.
It is not a secret whatsoever.
Not at all.
Even, especially like the look of Big Boss, who Solid Snake is the clone from, is directly ripped off.
Oh yeah,
100%.
In Metal Gear Solid 2, when they pull the rug out from under you, and all of a sudden you're playing as Raiden, which I didn't mind. Like it was fine for me. It didn't ruin my experience. I know a lot of people are really mad about it, because obviously Solid Snake's a great character. You want to play as him, and you only do that for the tanker mission. But then you encounter him undercover, and you hear that voice, and he says, "I'm Plissken, Iroquois Plissken." I was like, just
no,
directly ripped him. Well, I mean, but the Snake Plissken from
100%
Iroquois
Plissken. Yeah.
So that was clearly another wink and a nod to how this is totally just Snake from the Escape from New York.
So of all the characters we have on this list, like if I wanted to be one of them, I feel like I might choose Solid Snake because of how badass he is. Because he's a clone, he's a genetic soldier, but his story arc through every one of the games, especially like with 4, because you grew to love this character over time with everything that's happened to him. All Metal Gear Solid 3, granted, it's not Snake or Solid Snake, but that's part of his story and how he came to be. And all those stories are interconnected in such a way that I think a lot of games wish they could do, but just can't. Like,
yeah, and at surface value, these stories are absolutely wild and absurd.
Yeah.
But they would still make a great miniseries.
They would. I would love it.
You always talk about a movie, but I'm like, there's just too much going on. The things that I love about that could not fit into a movie. This would be so much better as like an Amazon series or something like that.
Yeah.
One thing about 4 though, and you were saying you'd like to be like him. I'm like, but did you forget that he kind of just has that rapid aging?
Yeah,
issue?
He just withers away. Yeah,
he just withers away, which I didn't like. I understood why he did it. Hideo did this just so he could show how detailed they can make an old man look on PlayStation 3 at the time.
3.
Yeah. And that's great. But at the same time, I was like, I would have just preferred if he just was, looking like he was in his 50s, not his 70s.
Yeah. Well, they try to connect to the story, but I agree. It was also like a bit of a technical showcase, which it really was.
It was.
But also it sucks because it almost tries to give you this finality that Solid Snake's going to die and he's ending, right? It's like he's not coming back kind of thing. Yeah. So Solid Snake was my number 1. It was Ryan's number 1, and it was an easy choice for me. I'm sure it was likely an easy choice for you too, Randall.
It was the correct answer. Sorry, Mike and Deuce. Try again next time.
No way.
All right, guys. Well, we've made it to the end of our list. I think we've had a pretty fun time here and a lot of great choices overall. Is there any final thoughts? Anything else you want to add to this list on here before we move on?
No, but was I right in the beginning? Like, wouldn't this be an awesome Smash Brothers with all the
I wish it would be an all-star
Who would
thing.
win?
Yeah.
That would be a fun
Kratos.
Yeah.
I think Kratos wins.
The arguments
Since
begin.
No one picked Kirby. Then it would probably be Kratos.
Exactly. Maybe we'll leave it at that. The final thought. Maybe that'll be a prequel to our next episode as the great character debate or something. I don't know. But if you have any favorite characters out there, let us know. We're on Instagram at Legion Gaming Podcast. You can email us at LegionGamingPod@gmail.com. We're also on Twitter a little bit, even though it's kind of quiet on there. You can find us there at Legion Gaming Pod. Fellas, Mike, Randy, anything you wanna plug before we adjourn here?
Nah, just keep on playing, fellas.
All right, guys. Ducey, any final words to close us out?
Press start to continue.
Thank you, everyone.